Hello everyone. On behalf of Integrity Remote Staffing, I welcome you all to our first webinar of the season. In this presentation, we will focus upon understanding what is remote staffing and the benefit it brings to small and mid-sized accounting firms. So here we go. I am Chandan, Client Success Manager with Integrity. Today with me I have Mike Goossen. Mike is Integrity's Chief Mentor. Mike is a CPA and is the CEO of Columns for Success. We also have Shawn Parikh with us, who is the founder and CEO of Integrity Group.
Thanks, Chandan. Thanks for introducing us.
So before we begin, let me give you a quick background about Integrity. We are headquartered out of Montauk, Long Island, New York, and also have 3 offices in India. Today, we are working with more than 500 accounting firms all across the United States and have a client retention rate of 96%. Integrity is an ISO 27001 certified company, which is the highest standard for information security management. And it is my pleasure to share that we have had 0 security breaches till date. And we exclusively work with CPA firms, accounting practices, and tax professionals. So now I'll invite Mike to take over and may take this webinar forward and share some of his valuable insights about integrity and remote staffing. Over to you, Mike.
Well, thank you, Chandan. I appreciate the opportunity to share this exciting opportunity for small, medium-sized, large firms to consider. One of the things that's interesting that I've discovered and we've talked about here is that there are a lot of different challenges for CPA firms as they are beginning to either from the start or they do want to grow. And surveys have shown us that one of the key problems that firms are experiencing is finding and retaining qualified staff. Staffing challenge is a very big thing. So today we're going to talk about staffing challenges, what some of the big fours have done. We'll introduce you to the Integrity Remote Staffing, some benefits of being connected with and working with Integrity, what it means to be hiring remote staff, and how is remote staffing actually a long-term solution as opposed to something that you just need on the short term. So we'll get into more of that as we go. Finding and hiring the qualified staff is a big problem. And along with that is that in part retaining the qualified staff. Now, when a small firm spends the time and money to develop an individual to get them rolling up to speed, to lose them is a very expensive proposition. And the cost of turnover is very high. And so that is also a concern that is faced by small businesses or small firms. And also being able to scale up when necessary, maybe it's just a tax season push or maybe some new clients came on. Bringing that is also a challenge, and remote staffing can be of service and helpful to that. And then the long-term maintaining of client relationships in the CPA world, obviously making relationships are built oftentimes along with the individual staff. And so as a result, there is some concerns if we lose staff, and that also impacts our client relationships. And that's also a problem that's being faced by small firms that we believe remote staffing can be helpful with.
And just to add to what you said, Mike, apart from that, staffing has a lot of other challenges wherein expensive hiring, payroll commitments for small firm, paying payroll taxes and medical insurances and benefits, plus the sporadic nature of the workflow and the seasonality of the workflow adds to that challenges. So staffing is not one challenge, but it encompasses many challenges that small and mid-sized accounting firms are facing.
Yeah, it's very true. There is a lot to that. We have to be mindful of that as we go through this. So what have big four firms and the larger firms have done? And realizing that the need for more skilled talent and so forth, they set up offices offshore, and there they began to bring on the global talent that they needed and begin to work with those to help save the costs as opposed to the states, and save some of the compliance issues that was a little bit related to the labor laws and so forth. And so it was that approach that they took, and that helped them to overcome some of these staffing challenges they were experiencing at the time. This was roughly 15 years ago.
And not only that, Mike, I'd like to, add to what you said. Once they came in, after that, even larger accounting firms kind of came in, top 200 accounting firms to set up their offices. And today they have their dedicated offices. Big Four have multi-city offices in India, and they have hired thousands of employees. So this has created a huge ecosystem in India of a talent pool who knows American accounting, tax, and finance. We came up with the idea that if we can leverage this model and kind of be a bridge for small and mid-sized accounting firm where they can hire talent for themselves and, mitigate staffing challenges, and, still they control their work, control the team, control the staff.
Okay, as we're moving on, Integrity is the solution, is the remote staffing solution, and it is developed for accountants, by accountants. The founders of the association, of the organization are accountants, and they know the systems and they know what challenges firms have. It's kind of a unique solution. It brings opportunity to the smaller firms that they don't have, as we just said, as far as larger corporations do. And the thing about it is, it's not that we're anything different. It's unique in that it's the staff is in fact not with you locally. However, you still hire them the same way that you would hire a regular employee at your firm. You still receive resumes. You get to select the ones that fit your culture of your business. You get to interview, test them, make sure they're right. The staff is qualified and experienced and well-trained. They do have a knowledge of all the same softwares that we all use in the States for those type of services, everything from QuickBooks to the tax programs, etc. And as a result, we're able to provide a staffing solution at a much lower cost. In some cases, up to 75% of the labor costs can be reduced by going this process. And another thing that also brings is that you have a budgetary ability. You know the cost of your labor as you move forward. That would help you as you do your planning and your bidding on jobs and so forth down the line as well. So that's a good approach to remote staffing.
And what you mentioned is absolutely correct. We exclusively work with small and mid-sized accounting firms only. So our solution is designed to meet their needs. And when we only work with accounting firms, it kind of gives us domain expertise to understand their pain areas and to provide them with good quality staff.
So with that in mind, what are some of the main benefits contracting with Integrity? We've already mentioned that there's a real opportunity to save on your labor costs because the pay rates are much lower. You avoid the recruitment fees because we bring to you the people already ready through the situation. The benefits of health insurance, payroll taxes, all that is not of your concern because they are not on your payroll, they're on ours. As a result, the infrastructure cost is gone. And there are a lot of flexibility in our hiring options because we have a pool of employees that can do different things. So the flexibility is also a main benefit here.
Just to add to what Mike said, to the main benefits, all accountants already know about the benefits. So most important of them is flexibility in hiring.
So some of the ancillary benefits, which I think is, we call them ancillary, but actually it's the first one's kind of a main one from my perspective. Less employee attrition or turnover, as I call it. That's a very expensive thing for small business. You may or may not know for the turnover, the average turnover cost to replace someone is somewhere in the area of 1.5 times their salary. So even a simple $15 an hour employee can cost you up to $30,000 to replace them if they leave you. So removing that potential cost is huge for our small organizations. Also, by working through a remote staffing system, you have access to a larger talent pool. They are functioning at all levels of your organization. When we talk about multitasking, we're talking about multi-talented, actually, something along the lines of where they can do more than one thing. So they're not going to be just simply bookkeepers. They can also do various other tasks as well during the different times of year that you need them. And with that, you have a higher productivity at a lower cost. So your productivity person is higher, and as a result, so is your bottom line. Now, it's extremely flexible. We've mentioned flexibility a couple of times in this presentation so far, and we want to emphasize that here. everything from, you have permanent employee relationships. There's opportunity for temporary. There's full-time, part-time, meaning that full-time is defined by 40 hours a week, but we have opportunities for various levels of number of hours and so forth. Seasonal opportunities are available to us as well, and to you. And the temp to permanent, you can try a person. You work with that person for a while, and maybe you might want to use them more as we go down the line, so you can experience it up front. We'll dig deeper into each one of these in a little bit here as we go. So the weekly hiring options, we look at this from a perspective of hours per week. You can have assistance from staff from full-time at 40 hours a week, 30, 20, 10, whatever works for you. Full-time remote staff is considered at 40 hours per week. And this person would work with your firm dedicatedly. They would be your person. Now, if you're looking for someone with less than full-time, they would be like 10 or 20 hours a week. They would be dedicated to you during the time they're working for you, and they would have other clients that they might be working with other firms at the same time during that same week. So you can have that 100% control and relationship at a 40-hour per week level. But you don't have to start there. So if you want to try us for a short time at 10 hours or 20 hours a week and try a person and see how they work for you and work up to that, that would be a good way to approach this as well.
Perfect, Mike. And just to add to what you mentioned, the hiring options are designed in such a way that it suits the needs of every small and mid-sized accounting firm, because we work with accounting firms and we know the sporadic nature of the workflow and the seasonality aspect to it. So we have kept that in mind while designing our hiring options. So it is so flexible that it can suit a need of a solo practitioner to 200 people accounting firm who can start by hiring one person and then eventually build a team.
Yeah, I can see that. And that's a great way to do things when you're trying to avoid the high costs trying people. When you're starting out a small firm, it's very expensive.
Yeah.
So as we saw here, so from a local staff perspective, some might be uncomfortable with this idea and think, well, wait a minute, how's this going to work? I like having these people in my office with me. This remote staffing is very similar to your local staff in a lot of ways. First of all, you're still hiring as per your needs. You're not hiring someone that you don't need. And again, we said just a moment ago with the flexibility that you can hire at a smaller level, and it'd be easier to find someone with this higher level of competency for just 10 hours or 20 hours a week than it would be to go to your own marketplace. The other reality is you're not just going to get someone we assign. You personally interview, you can test them, you decide in advance if you want that person working for you. They directly report to you. So it's not like you're going through any middleman at all. You're working with the person directly. They work under your control of your management team or you directly. We also mentioned, just like if you hire a local staff and talent, that they would do different services for you throughout the year. Same thing here. You're not hiring just a single tasked person. And this will help you grow your corporation or help you meet gaps in holes in your staffing. And they're available at all levels within a CPA firm. So I think it's a real good opportunity for people to grow and control their costs as they do this and not lose track of the relationship.
And of course, when we say similarity with local staff, the idea is the staff that you're hiring, although works remotely, but they integrate with the firm like your local staff. When you say they multitask, the idea is typically in a small accounting firm with 5 employees, the employees doesn't work in a particular department or just doesn't do particular nature of the task. They're usually multitasking, multi-talented, working on client follow-ups, sending out emails, doing accounting, processing payrolls, managing documents. Similar to that, even a remote staff can multitask. So you just don't look at them doing one specific nature of the work. They can multitask depending upon the needs of CPA firm or an accounting firm. And as they directly reports to you and works under your control and management, the idea is really to make them learn the way you do your things and really make them more efficient so they can really become more and more productive for your firm like your local staff.
That's a very good point, Shawn, that's true. All those things you're saying is exactly right. Even though they're not in the office next to you, With today's technology and so forth, it seems like they are, and that works out just as well, and they can be a part of your team. You want them to become a part of your team, not just the guy across the ocean. It's got to be someone, and it's entirely up to how how you as leaders and owners of your firm communicate, bring them in on meetings, working together with them. And I think it really does work out quite well once you get used to the process and understand it and practice it a little bit, because it's not going to come naturally. It's going to take a little bit of effort, but once it's done, you're going to find out it's really very, very effective. So obviously some of the differences from working with the local staff is you're working with integrity. The person we're talking about is on integrity's payroll, not yours. So it's like we said earlier, it's kind of like a monthly budget. You know exactly what you're paying for that particular person's services. It is distant, but with proper communication strategy and so forth, it works very well. So let's just take a quick moment here to kind of review the hiring process. It's pretty transparent and easy to do. Next so basically there's a 3-step process. You identify your requirements and needs, and we provide a resume too that you can review. You do the initial video interview, and you can do testing to make sure their skills are okay. And then after you have a handful of a few people you like, you can select the one that best fits your firm. Very simple. So with that said, we have levels for staffing from everything from a data entry specialist to manager. So remote staffing is often seen as or understood as a short-term solution to take care of maybe some increased data entry needs or some sort of big client or big project or something like that. However, remote staffing is more really a long-term solution to meet your staffing challenges. Some of the staffing challenges we've talked about already is finding the people that you need. That's a shortage and a challenge for everyone. The expensive costs of looking, seeking, all those type of things, very difficult to do. Compliances are issues. But really a major part new staffing is the training costs and bringing them up to speed to meet your style, your company's culture, all those type of things. And then once you've got through that process, got them humming, there's that huge risk of them leaving and maybe going to a different firm or into a corporation. That just then leaves you with even another huge cost or impact of having to start over. You have to go back to that process again. We mentioned earlier that when you lose an employee, it's projected to cost nearly 1.5 to 2 times their salary. That's expensive. And then you're back to training and going up. And then the question is, will that new person be able to catch up as quickly and get going and get ready as fast as you can? And maybe you might have some opportunities lost as a result of that. So those are some big challenges to consider, and remote staffing is a direct solution to that. And when we're talking about long-term solutions, it's not that remote staffing is a one-time adventure or one-time opportunity. It's more than that. Clearly, when you bring on a new person, either if you bring into your firm directly at your site or with a remote situation, there does take some initial time. Hand-holding is required, getting them going, bringing them up to speed on your systems. Collaboration is the key here, as we indicate. Being able to communicate, bring them in, make them a part of your firm is very important. That happens from the very beginning, and that will enable the longer-term solution. The nice thing also is you don't have to start with a full-time employee. You can start small and build, start with a few hours a week, get that going, be comfortable with that, then add to that, and then add to your team as your company and your firm grows. So as you become more profitable, clients come on board, projects become available, you'll have people available for you to grow up with that and fill in the gaps and expand your business and help them grow. So I'm hoping that kind of gives you a good overview and brings you up to speed on what remote staffing can do for your organization.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Shawn, for giving us the valuable insight about integrity remote staffing and its benefits. So I hope the viewers also must have found it informative. Please feel free to share your thoughts about it, and we would be very glad to answer all your queries. Please subscribe to our newsletters and to our YouTube channel to know more about the upcoming webinars. Thank you very much.